back, everybody, to the Success Partner Podcast. I'm your host, Daya Naef. And today we have in the studio Jenn Bradshaw. Jenn is a disruptor in the travel industry, and I can't wait to hear more highlights about that. So, Jenn, introduce yourself and take it away.
Thank you, Daya. I really appreciate being on your podcast. Yes, I am a disruptor in the travel industry. It's been a long time coming. I own my own boutique travel agency called Saver Fair Travel Co. And I've had it since just after COVID, which seems very strange that someone would go into travel right after COVID. Um, but in true good fashion of being that chaos and disruptor, I said, nope, people have been sequestered and travel is not going to go anywhere. It hasn't for decades. So I've had other businesses and I've actually had a corporate career, which I feel to this point in time, my time in finance, in government, and in HR all allowed me to be this entrepreneur in this space. So it's very eclectic, and I'm really just excited to be here. And I live in Virginia. I was born in the Philippines, but my dad was Navy, so we ended up just being stationed here after he retired. So I've pretty much been here all my life.
That's amazing. That's amazing, and it's such a dynamic and diverse group of or area of the country. Plus, it's great base for international travel.
Absolutely.
Getting out and going places. So, what made you start the business, and how is it going now? A couple of years down the road.
So yeah, like we were talking about COVID, what made me start the business, and I honestly, I had a small coaching business back in 2011, and I did a lot of retreats, sitting with women in spaces, um, and really just what we would know at this day of healing and really learning about yourself and that self discovery. And during that time period, I had taken a trip to Bali. And as I mentioned, I was born in the Philippines. I was actually adopted by Caucasian parents of the Midwest. And it wasn't until I was like 35 when I made this trip to Bali that it was the first time that I ever felt like a sense of place. I'd never seen anybody or been around people that looked like me. Like I said, growing up in the Northern Virginia area, while it's transient, you tend to stick to the same cultures, and you're not exposed to a lot, even though we're such a diverse area. So one of the first reasons I got into business was to be able to go back to the Philippines because as travel advisors, I'd be remiss to tell you that we definitely get benefits. So that was a goal before I turned 50 that's still lingering. This is my 50th year, so fingers crossed something will
Yeah.
happen. Um, and the other thing was because of that trip and the desire to go back to the Philippines and find my sense of self, I discovered that Bali was a place where it truly was transformational travel. And we hear a lot about that in the industry, and I hear a lot of that from my clients. I don't want the cookie cutter thing. I want to be immersed. I want the culture. And sometimes it's a buzzword to them, and other times it's really what they mean. So I'm always going to go with transformational travel. And the reason I chose to start this business instead of doing like coaching and retreats was because these were people who really wanted to create their own experience to change their perspective. And at the heart of it, the heart of my business and doing travel is transformational travel should and always does, if done correctly, will open a person's perspective to a unique culture
Mhm.
in which they can learn empathy for human race. I know that seems really deep and very far fetched, but if you really think about your last amazing travel, one that's not like go to an all inclusive and whatnot, and maybe it's an all inclusive, but one that's so curated and finely tuned as a bucket list, and think about all the memories and things that you thought about, and it's really steeped in culture and culinary because those are the ways
Mhm.
we commune. And
So,
so that's how I got here. It was really just from that experience in Bali and my own desire to connect to a sense of place and give people that sense of belonging, whether it's their roots or their desire to learn something new.
Hmm. Yeah, I love that. I love being in a different culture, and the way if things taste and smell and feel different, the climate, the culture, the as you're immersed, like you said, as the sensories around you, and that stays with you forever. Like you're like always changed, and you'll smell something, you'll see something, touch something that reminds you of that place or of that experience. I think
Right.
we've gotten much more experiential. Like we can buy anything we want these days, but experiences are something that people are really choosing to invest in. Uh, and what's it like
Absolutely.
being what do you feel is different about being, if there's a difference about being a woman entrepreneur?
Oh my goodness. So much as you know, and I'm sure as previous guests that you've had. Um, so even being a woman and a minority woman. So as I've learned along my path in these years, growing up in a biracial family, I never knew prejudices in its way. So that is one thing that the diversity aspect as a woman, a minority woman growing up, that I did experience, but I didn't experience it until I got away from the house, until I actually graduated from college. So that's one thing that's a little bit different as a woman entrepreneur. As a woman entrepreneur, one of the other things, because I have such a strong background in the military, like I said, my father was retired Navy. It's how we ended up here. It's how they ended up with me. To the core is leadership. One of my biggest things is about leadership. And as a businesswoman, any woman has influence, whether she's influencing in her industry, influencing her team, or just influencing the network that she's a part of. So really when it comes down to really the biggest thing that I value and try to make a difference is in feminine leadership. Um, it's really something that I feel is overlooked. However, I think we're circling the idea of wanting to really know what feminine leadership is. And I say that because recently when I was in New York City last week at an inaugural Female Founders in Hospitality event, which is all female founders. We talk about leadership and tech and different things within the hospitality industry. But one of the things I was talking to someone during a networking event was, she's like, ladies, you need to be like a woman and think like a man. And I'm standing there with another woman and I look at her. She looks at me. We look at this other woman. The other woman kind of left off that who had said that. And I said, I disagree with that. And she goes, I do too. I said, because I disagree with that because we've been thinking like men as women this whole time since the conception of having a business. And it's been about bottom lines and drive and push and sacrifice. And that's not feminine energy at all. Like, that's not it. But here's the caveat, Daya. We've never in our lifetime seen true feminine leadership. Or if we did, they're hints of what we want to emulate.
Mhm.
So I'd say that that's probably the biggest challenge I see as a female and a minority female business owner.
Yeah. Staying true to that authenticity and tapping into the feminine power, being true to yourself, and then still getting ahead, still achieving success and staying in business. And,
Yeah.
the first mark is get the business going, and then we have success in what we think it should look like, whether it's more revenue or more time to ourselves or more giving back or whatever our goals are.
Yeah, I would even add to that, along with those items that you mentioned, is also instilling empathy and relatability to not only our team, our clients, but other women business owners,
Hmm.
and being able to build that village because we as women prefer community. We like there's so many things that I learned in my health coaching business and diving into more of the feminine energy that is missing. And I also feel that it's missing because, again, there's that think like a man, um, drive profit, get business in the door, manage a family, do all the things, sacrifice ourselves, that we also forget what we've needed in the past to nourish ourselves with our community, with relating, being able to take that authenticity and be transparent with another, whether it's a male or a female, or our children for that matter. So, yeah, I would add that that's an aspect of feminine leadership that we're still navigating, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it can be challenging. It's like we're in such a competitive environment. How do we be vulnerable and trusting and grow with love
Mm-hmm.
when it's a Shark Tank?
Eh, and it is. It is a Shark Tank, and you in your previous careers know what Shark Tanks are like. I know that for a fact. Um, I would also say that there's a great book called Blue Ocean, whatever industry you're in, right?
Mhm.
That you open it up, and I feel like you have also changed your mindset because of where you are and how you're reaching out and what you're doing with your skill set, and even diving into AI. Um, in a technology, which is also very masculine industry, right? We can't lie about that. Um, I would also say that Blue Ocean is a great book. Um, I would also say there are two questions when meeting women, because one of the things, because I'm in a B&I group, which is a very traditional, transactional. So I'd say one of the key things to maybe like take away from this as a woman business owner is less transactional, more relational. So
Mhm.
when you're out there talking to people, men or women, I had two questions asked me. If money were no object, what would you do and where would you live?
Mhm.
And with those questions, you learn a lot about a person.
True.
So I'll just quickly answer it so people
Yeah,
know.
I was going to say.
Um, I would just answer, I would still be doing travel, but it wouldn't be my full-time job. I actually would probably be ballroom dancing as well as learning how to DJ. Um, so a secret, like my little hobby is dance, whether it's hip hop, ballroom, salsa, all of that.
Mhm.
But also, just so you know, for a fun fact, I would love to be able to DJ, reverse engineer that with through AI, do
Mhm.
choreography, and then program music that will match the
To
actual
dance it.
choreography versus vice versa, which is the
Versus
way it's
vice
always
versa.
been.
I love it.
Fun thing, again, disruptor from all angles. Um, and where would I live? Um, Sometimes I say I'd be a nomad, but I'd be lying if I didn't agree. I didn't say that roots are important. I do feel that roots are important. So honestly, I would still be on the East Coast. And if money were no object and knew I was safe and all those good things, I'd probably be in Florida or the Carolinas. Yep.
Yeah, sounds good. I know, and exploring that, and I do what I love as well. I mean, I've designed my own career thus far, and love to do my art, and you have to have a home base for that, but still travel. And yeah, I love that. I love that we create what we want to create, and then we fill in the gaps where we need to. Yeah, well, good. So, Jen, how do people find out? How do they connect with you and find out more?
Excuse me. Yeah, absolutely. I have a website. Allergies in the Northern Virginia area, guys. They're real. Um, So www.savorfairtravelco.com, or simply email me at Jenn with two N's, JENN at savorfairtravelco.com.
Great.
Also on Instagram too, which I don't, not big on Facebook. Instagram is really where it is. And again, it's just my business at savorfairtravelco.
I love it. And for everybody listening and didn't grab a pen, of course, it will be in the show notes. And of course, you can always connect with me and I'll connect you with Jen as well. So this has been another episode of the Success Partner Podcast. I am your host, Daya Naef. Please like, subscribe, and stay tuned.
Thank you, Daya.